First of all, what you gotta remember, most videographers are sleepwalking through this shift that's currently happening, and they're gonna get left behind because of it. And what's the real reason so many are struggling to stand out in this changing landscape that we're all navigating? You already know you need to add more value to your client's business by making content that converts. That's how you become a person of value, right? You already know that. And you probably already know that you do this by doing what all the bigger companies do, leaning into their brand from all angles with the correct high-level tools. They'll give you everything you need to begin the content process. It doesn't matter if you're making content for a cafe or a massive corporate firm, similar rules apply across the board, right? And you can't just claim to be a creative, you have to actually step up and be one, technically, creatively, and emotionally. Just being good at making videos used to be good enough, right? You'd get by all right like that before. The most talented got paid the most. Not anymore. But, and there's a big but, in this completely new market where 19-year-old kids can whip up a cinematic video in an hour and they'll openly post themselves talking about it, you're gonna get left way behind if you don't lend some inspiration from them, because that approach works. So we've entered a new era where being human is becoming more and more rare. And that sounds a bit nuts, I know. And I never thought I'd have to say this, but in a world and a market becoming more dominated by AI-generated content, your personality is now one of your most valuable business assets. Hopefully you've got one. All right, but you already know if you can help humanize your client's business and their brand, it's going to help build trust through their consideration phase of their buyer's journey, and it'll help future-proof them. So if you can present yourself in your own consideration phase of your buyer's journey as a person that brands trust and that audiences feel something from, it's what's going to future-proof you as a video creative. If people feel something when they see you, they're probably going to trust you with their audience. And this is one of the strategies that's going to strengthen your sales process. And I'm praying you're not still avoiding sharpening your sales skills. This is the priority, right? Not your camera, not your sexy new gimbal that nobody gives a fuck about other than you. You are the priority, you as a person, because gear can't build trust, only you can do that. And if you pair this with leaning into your client's brand and spending time in that strategy period between a signed deal and then creating the shot list and using the correct current tools to make it all flow beautifully, you're set to win in this unpredictable landscape moving forward. So why have I got the right to say this? Because on paper, I've always been a creative, all right? Started off sketching and painting as a kid, still do it from time to time. I started filming, editing stuff in art school in 2009, just before doing a degree in digital film, living a student life that I funded through my first few small videography jobs 15 years ago. And during these 15 years, I've seen this industry go through more phases than most people even realize. I've been a freelance videographer, I've been a DOP for feature films, an editor for feature films. I've edited over 300 episodes of broadcast TV. I've created a shitload of branded content. I've mainly edited, and I've been part of the broader creative strategy for campaigns for Nike, for Ralph Lauren, for Shell, for Man United, and a load more. And I've seen how big creative brands and agencies work. And I've seen how content is used to market bigger brands to audiences, creatively, psychologically, and technically. So audience and brand are attached, which leads downstream towards conversions and a higher revenue, because ultimately that's the end goal for everybody. And the reality is these processes are just not that different to any other brand in the world, big or small. Audiences are audiences, and all of them are human beings with the same brain pathways. And then with the enormous rise in demand of short form content, I started consulting video creatives, probably much like yourself, on how to close much bigger deals using these same strategies. The sort of deals that completely change your year.
It's been like a 23 grand month. That is literally down to 4 creatives.
The packages are between 10 and 16k. What would I have charged for that a year ago? 2 grand.
The goal I set with Reese for 12 months, I achieved in 2.5 months. Last month was 20k, yeah, this month's looking the same.
It gets to like 18,000 for 2 days shoot compared to 1,000.
February, I started selling. March, 10k's worth of work.
Fast forward, I built a program and a community for solo video creatives that has now helped them collectively close 8 figures in deals. So in short, the mid-tier video agency model with big bloated crews, long timelines of delivery, and complex processes is completely dying, and the video creative willing to learn a bit about both creative and marketing strategy is taking their place. What an agency will charge 100k for, a videographer can get done for 50, 60k, for example.
The push for me was that the game has changed. The agency model is struggling because actually the videographer is more valuable for video marketing than a mid-tier agency. Build my own teams, build my own systems, create my own client base, and do it properly.
Budget cameras are now much better, as you know. Teams can be much smaller due to easier workflows, as you know. And who do you think is more accessible for business? A solo strategic video creative with a couple of other pairs of hands helping here and there if needed, or a bloated out agency with a load of points of contact and confusing moving parts? Again, you already know. So, it's obvious to us all what's happening, and if you're a video creative, you've definitely seen and probably felt this happening as well. So the long and short of it is, I've been helping videographers take over this mid-tier video agency space using techniques that I've nicked from the big boys. And this takeover, it isn't a theory, right? There's growing daily proof out there that this is actually happening. No doubt you've seen it. So, everything changes for the guys in 4Creatives when they started following a formula that actually works, okay? The program I built isn't just a load of tips, it's the sum of 15 years in creative industries, real creative strategies from global brands, real marketing insights from global brands, processes from other high-level advertising and brand creatives, and live feedback for everyone, from video creatives in the trenches multiple times per week. We all built this with the community, not just for it, okay? We've adjusted as we go. We've received real-time data back from content that works and what doesn't. As the landscape can be inconsistent, we've adjusted processes accordingly and discussed these in depth as a community multiple times a week. And as soon as people inside started approaching their entire system with a different mindset, outlook and technique, they started landing retainers that considerably boost their monthly income. They learn how to build trust assets, and they completely reposition themselves inside companies as more of a long-term growth partner, as opposed to someone who delivers a few pointless videos and just disappears. And why is there value in doing this? Because you're sat there digesting my content right now, giving me your attention. And attention is the #1 currency for any business, okay? So every business in the world will need consistent, converting content every single day. And here's some examples of the system in action. If you are interested in these success stories, there's a load of success story videos on this YouTube channel. A link for each is in the description, where they go through each of their success in detail. So what I've done is made sure all our creatives have clear constraints. #1, there's someone worth working with. You can't be doing what every other videographer is doing and expecting different results. That's not how this works, okay? It's not always the most talented that gets the work. Being someone of value that is outcome based and worth speaking with is paramount. You can't be sleeping on this, all right? #2, visibility compounds. It's one thing being this person, but it's just as important to make this known. The more you show up, the more people start to reference you. It's not just reach, it's repeatedly showing your positioning, and positioning is everything. And this is essential for both video creative and your client. You got to remember the perception isn't built in a day, it's built in repetition, and making sure that what they see and on repeat is on brand. #3, the creativity starts on the discovery call. So the entire discovery process is designed in a way that the prospect realizes that they need the creative services because they were thinking creatively from this moment on and truly understanding the prospect's needs. So we've designed this unique process as we've gone on with the input of a full community of creatives. Now, there's a lot of steps to the creative process before you even think about a shortlist, and a lot of people talk about strategy, but they don't truly understand it. And that is the fucking sweet spot where the real value that your client is paying for takes place. That's what generates ROI. Anyone can fund a production. The real funding is going to be into the creative strategy. And like I said, that's where the ROI lives. So let's be real. Paid ads are a luxury unless you've got $1,000 to test per week, okay? And even then, most of it's been wasted if you haven't got trust built first. So the flywheel solves that because it compounds trust. Trust's everything, okay? It means every time you post, you show up or send an email, you're not starting from zero. You're picking up from the last impression you made. That is the key to the castle. That's the difference between posting content and building a system. And remember, people need around 7 touch points of content before they're ready to buy. And that's not just your client's audience, it's yours as well. So if you are invisible and you haven't got these systems, you can't be complaining that you're broke. So here's how the content engine works when we install it with brands. First, we do high-level brand strategy. We use techniques pulled from some of the biggest ad campaigns in the world by high-level brand strategists to uncover the smallest details about the brand, who they really are and who their audience really is. We pull things like language, tone, rhythm, beliefs in the right way and shape it into a defined brand voice, just like the big brands are doing right now. And then we gather everything, things like past campaigns, captions, sales decks, PDFs. We figure out what emotion the audience needs to feel when they interact with the brand. Emotion is the conversion switch, right? And most creatives aren't even looking into it yet. And then we build a brand voice agent, okay? We train a custom GPT using all of that brand's material. Now, when we prompt it, it thinks like them, it writes like them. So even when the client's asleep, the content system keeps talking. And like it or not, it's just the way things work now. And then of course, production and post, we shoot monthly and it's strategic, not scattered, and it's always aligned to goals. Then of course, distribution. Content gets distributed across high traffic platforms on volume, but always with a signal back to core trust building content. The system runs with 2 lanes, high velocity clips and deep brand trust content. Surface level for the scroll, depth for the decision, and then the holy grail of what you make, case studies. So results get fed straight back into marketing, okay? We don't just tell people it works, we show them it already has. This compounds into more deals won. Proof isn't just a nice to have anymore. Proof is your sales team. And the truth is, right, this isn't for everyone. There's other approaches and other parts of the internet which is telling you the bare basics that are just outdated, trust me. This isn't for the hobbyist. This isn't for the videographer trying to win $400 gigs on Upwork. This is for the creative who knows deep down they're capable of much more if they just had the right blueprint. This is for the serious video creative ready to stop making content for clients and start building on-brand content engines inside their businesses that convert. So if that's not you, no dramas, right? All the best surviving with AI breathing down your neck. But if you are here because you know it's time to level up and play at a strategic level, then make sure you hang around, right? Because this is part 1 of a series where I break down the actual models, the moves and systems that turn solo videographers into indispensable growth partners. And even though I've helped the 4Creatives community generate 8 figures in video deals already, we're really just getting fucking started with this, right? Because the future can be overwhelming and uncertain, especially with AI. And unless you're keeping up, like we all are forked. Now, if you feel like this aligns, let me know in the comments where your focus is as a video creative moving forward. What kind of clients are you looking to work with? What kind of creator do you want to become? And if you don't want to wait for part 2, want to skip the queue, get a chat booked in the link in the description. Like, sub, see you in the next view where we go over branded content, AI voice agents, how to get more clients, generate an ROI, and all the rest of it. See you in the next one.